Hello and welcome to LFC Focus. Liverpool are taking on Southampton at the St Mary's Stadium this weekend in the Premier League in yet another game in what is becoming quite an exciting race for the top four places in the Premier League. And this could potentially end up being quite a pivotal week in it, because obviously last week we obviously had the disappointing result with Liverpool not able to put a big gap between them and Spurs. We felt like we should have got the win. As we all know, things happened and Liverpool ended up drawing the game. Sadly, we couldn't open up that 5-point gap. It is still just the 2 points between us and Spurs, and then 1 point between us and Chelsea, who are now down in fourth. And obviously with the North London derby being played this weekend on Saturday, with Chelsea playing West Brom in a potential banana skin of a game on Monday night as well, this weekend it feels like it could go any sort of way, you know. But the most important thing is that Liverpool pick up their 3 points and win their game, because if they don't, then it doesn't matter what happens in the other matches, because we still won't have capitalised on our opportunity to pick up another few points. And obviously Southampton is representing a fairly decent opportunity to do that. You know, Liverpool have been a little bit iffy recently. Earlier on in the season and around the November-December time, it really felt like we were getting into a groove of just kind of steamrolling the lower down teams. The win against Southampton at Anfield was actually a very good example of that, where Liverpool welcomed Southampton to Anfield. They tried to go for a low block. Liverpool just said, nah, we're having none of that, and we managed to come away with a very nice, convincing, comfortable 3-0 win. And it will be absolutely fantastic if we can do the same in this game. So team news going into the match, Jurgen Klopp had his press conference earlier on today, this afternoon. He said that Joe Gomez is unlikely to play for this game, pretty much no chance of him being involved on Sunday, a possibility of him being involved in the Porto game. So, you know, not a long-standing injury, but certainly one that's going to keep him out of this match. So that is a little bit of a disappointment. However, in terms of players coming back into training, Ranier Klavan and Alberto Moreno are both back and fit. Jurgen Klopp said that he would have liked Alberto Moreno to play in the under-23s match that they played against Spurs the other day, just to help him build up his fitness. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to do that because he wasn't quite there in terms of fitness. But him and Klavan are now back completely in contention and available for this game. Elsewhere, Adam Lallana is potentially available for this match. Obviously, still coming back from injury, and had the incident in the under-23s game against Spurs, where he just jumped on a Spurs player and physically assaulted him, which wasn't great. And apparently Jurgen Klopp and Adam Lallana, they have had a chat about that. Obviously Klopp not happy about it, Adam Lallana not happy with his actions either, very remorseful apparently. So that has been smoothed over, thankfully. But according to Jurgen Klopp, Lallana will probably potentially play a part in this game, but it will probably be from the bench. It's unlikely that he will be in the starting 11. And another thing Jurgen Klopp mentioned in his press conference today is that he's not thinking about Porto at the moment, despite the fact that obviously that is the midweek game that comes straight after this, 3 days later on Wednesday night, and it's an away game in Portugal as well. So you'd think maybe Jurgen Klopp might bring that into consideration in terms of his team selection, but as he said in his press conference, it's not on his mind yet. He won't start thinking about it until after the Southampton game, so that suggests that we won't be rotating, we won't be dropping a few players out and resting them for the Champions League tie. Liverpool will be going full strength for this match. So as for how I think we are actually going to line up, of course it's probably going to be Karius in goal. Can't really see any other possibilities there. Karius obviously had a very, very good game against Spurs. I felt incredibly sorry for him that he ended up conceding 2 goals, because obviously the first one, it's not a mistake, it's a very good punch. The only thing you can really criticise him for is the fact that he doesn't get up quickly enough. You know, he looks a little bit lethargic in it. But then again, if you're going to blame anyone, I'd blame Oxlade-Chamberlain for not closing down Victor Wanyama there. But yes, Karius obviously a very good performance against Spurs. Looks like he might be proving that he still has a future at Liverpool Football Club, which would obviously be great. As much as I love all the rumours of Alisson and Oblak and stuff like that, it would still be nice if our actual players that we've got at the club at the moment would prove themselves good enough and prove that we don't need to be dipping into the market over the summer transfer window. So yeah, Karius starting in this game. Centre-back pairing, I think he's going to go with Virgil van Dijk and Dejan Lovren for this game. Obviously, like I said, Klavan, a potential starter in this game, coming back into fitness after a little bit of an injury period. Joel Matip as well is also available for this match, but I just think Van Dijk and Lovren, they had a pretty good game last time out against Spurs. Again, I felt sorry that they ended up conceding 2 goals, because despite the fact we did invite a lot of Spurs pressure on, and you know, you can blame them for that, say that they shouldn't have allowed that kind of thing to happen in the game, they dealt with it very well. Obviously, it's partially the midfield's fault as well for allowing the ball to actually come close to our centre-backs so often, but I think they just look composed, they look so sensible and calm at the back, and I just think it would be unfair after they showed such a great performance as a duo to switch things up again. I know Jurgen Klopp's kind of playing around with his centre-backs a little bit at the moment. He's gone with Matip and Lovren. He's gone with Van Dijk and Matip. He's gone with Van Dijk and Lovren as well. So it does look like he's playing around a little bit to try and find out what his best pairing is. But I think Van Dijk, obviously you play him because it's Southampton. He's going to want to prove a point after what was quite a disappointing last 6 months with them. And obviously there is a little bit of animosity there with the whole transfer saga that happened. Klopp has said that he will speak to Van Dijk before the game just to kind of maybe assess where his head's at. I certainly don't think Virgil van Dijk's the kind of player who loses his head in this kind of situation. So I reckon he will start this game. And I think this game kind of suits Lovren as well. As I said in this pre-match video for the Spurs game, where I actually thought that game wouldn't suit Lovren because, you know, he's up against world-class forwards who've got movement that's just slightly too good for him to deal with. I think this is the kind of game that suits Dejan Lovren, where he can deploy his aggressive defending style to full effect against what will probably be quite a barrage from Southampton in terms of probably playing long balls into the box, and they will probably play a big man up front. And then either side of those centre-backs, I reckon we are going to have Alexander-Arnold and then Andrew Robertson as the full-backs. Obviously Alexander-Arnold coming in because we won't have Joe Gomez for this game. I think it sounds like it's probably still a little bit too soon for Nathaniel Klein. I'm not quite sure where he's at in terms of training or anything like that, but the fact that Jurgen Klopp hasn't mentioned him in press conferences or anything like that suggests that he is still a wee bit off of the pace when it comes to being able to play for the first team. So Alexander-Arnold, I think, plays at right back. And then I think you go with Gomez at left back just to kind of add a little bit more balance, because as we saw against West Brom, when you play Alexander-Arnold and Moreno on the full back positions, it's just chaos, because they love getting forward, they love taking part in the attack, and it just exposes the centre-backs far too much, far too often. So I think if you're going to have Alexander-Arnold bombing down the right wing like he absolutely loves to do in that right back position, then you want Robertson on the left side just to occasionally tuck in, act as a little bit of an extra centre-back or something like that, and help with defensive stability. So that is how I think we're going to line up with the back line. With the midfield, I reckon we're going to go Henderson, Jan and Oxlade-Chamberlain. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp went with Henderson, Jan and Milner for the last 2 games against Spurs and Huddersfield, and they did reasonably well, but I just think you're lacking so much creativity from those players. No disrespect to players like Jan and Milner, who are obviously okay going forward, but I think you need an out-and-out attacking midfielder to help things out, and Oxlade-Chamberlain is kind of the best fit we have at the moment. Obviously, in a perfect scenario, we'd have Phil Coutinho or potentially an in-form Adam Lallana, but obviously Adam Lallana, he's not match sharp at the moment. He's certainly not in form at the moment, so he doesn't fill that hole in the way that Liverpool would need him to. And yeah, I just think, you know, against Huddersfield, the midfield did fine. Obviously, we did score 3 goals, but they were kind of like, there was a penalty, there was a wonder strike from Emre Can, and then there was an absolute worldie from Roberto Firmino. So we weren't really creating too many opportunities in that match, and we kind of had the same problem against Spurs as well, where all the opportunities we were getting in the first match were kind of through the press, which is not really what we're going to be able to do against Southampton. So I just think you take one of those midfielders out and put someone a little bit more creative in, and I think Milner's probably going to be the one where Jurgen Klopp swings the axe and puts Oxlade-Chamberlain in his place. And then the front 3 picks itself as usual: Salah, Firmino, Mane. I just think, you know, if we're going full strength, and I certainly don't think there's any real need for rotation at the moment, you know, it's not like we're playing weekend, midweek, week in, week out at the moment. There's like the odd midweek match, the occasional weekend off because of the FA Cup as well. So there isn't really a huge risk of players getting tired. So I just think you keep deploying that first choice front line in every single match. So Southampton then, obviously not having a great season so far. They did win their last game, which was against West Brom, but that was their first league win in 12 games and getting on to 3 months. So things really haven't been going well under Maurizio Pellegrino. They are in the relegation zone as well, so things just aren't really going well at all. Obviously, when it comes to Liverpool's record against Southampton, we don't have a great time at St Mary's typically. We've played them 5 times at St Mary's since they got promoted back to the Premier League in league matches anyway, and in that time I believe we've only won 2, we have lost 2, and we have drawn the other one as well. And our last 2 games at St Mary's were obviously the 0-0 last season and then the disastrous 3-2 the season before. So we don't have a great record there, but obviously the fact that Southampton aren't in great form at the moment, and they haven't really been all season to be honest, suggests that hopefully we will pick up our record at Southampton's ground and hopefully get the win this weekend. If there is one player that I think we do have to look out for, it is Jack Stephens, one of their centre-backs. He's a pretty good player. You know, he came into the side last season after Virgil van Dijk got injured, did a very, very good job at Southampton, very stable defensively, and obviously also over, I think his last 3 games, I'm pretty sure sure he's scored in every one. I might not be right there, but either way, he's scoring a lot more goals than usual. Jack Stephens, and obviously with the Alfie Mawson incident still fresh in our minds, we've all still got PTSD from that. You know, it's something that Liverpool will have to watch out for with set pieces. I mean, we're not that bad at set pieces anymore, but it's just one to keep an eye on, I think, for players like Van Dijk and Lovren, just to make sure they don't get caught out by anything like that. But yeah, Southampton not in great form at the moment. This is really a game that Liverpool just have to win at the moment. You know, if we want to continue fighting for the top four, if we want to put ourselves apart from the teams like Chelsea, Tottenham and Arsenal, and, you know, be challenging the teams above us like Manchester United, we just need to be getting 3 points, no questions asked in this game. And I think Liverpool are going to do that. So here are my 3 reasons why I think Liverpool will beat Southampton on Sunday. So first of all, like I said, Liverpool's defensive stability has gone up quite a lot in recent months. I did mention the Alfie Mawson incident against Swansea, and you can argue that that was down to the odd defensive error here or there, but that has become a bit more of a freak incident around Liverpool at the moment. So I think anyone who is worried about, you know, Southampton catching us out on corners or lobbing balls into the box and just causing chaos like that, you know, I'd suggest that they just calm down a little bit, especially with players like Lovren and Van Dijk. You know, Van Dijk certainly seems like the kind of centre-back who is going to get the best out of Dejan Lovren, because Lovren, he can occasionally be a bit of a clown, a bit of a Mr. Bean in the box, and I just think he needs someone next to him who's just going to calm him down and be like, right, Dejan, sort your head out, let's calm it down, let's just be sensible about this. And Joel Matip just isn't really that figure. You know, he's a good defender, but he's not a leader from the back, and I think there's the potential there, having Van Dijk alongside Dejan Lovren, to turn Dejan Lovren into a much better footballer for Liverpool. So hopefully the fact that he's got someone next to him who's going to tell him what to do, keep him in check the whole way through the game, should mean that Liverpool are a lot more stable defensively in this match. And second of all, I reckon that Mo Salah is just going to be absolutely massive for Liverpool in this game, because obviously he's in great form at the moment. 3 goals in 2 games, had an absolute belter of a match against Spurs last time out and scored some really nice goals. The second one was just Luis Suarez-esque, the way he does the entire Tottenham defence there. So expecting another big performance from him here, because that's just what Mo Salah does now. He just shows up to every single match. And obviously when we played Southampton at Anfield last time out, it was Mo Salah who unpicked the defence and scored the goals that put distance between us and them. And I think if Southampton do go for the low block in this game, then we're going to need a little bit more Mo magic if we're to break them down and get the win. And finally, I mentioned earlier that we have got the Porto game in just a few days after this, and the fact that there are a few players coming back into contention in terms of fitness, a few players coming back from injury, and, you know, with the whole absence of Phil Coutinho, there's still a little bit of, you know, hoo-ha in midfield, who's the best player for which role and whatever. I just think, you know, these players are going to be looking to stake a claim to start in that game against Porto, because obviously this is a massive game for Liverpool Football Club. It's one of our biggest European ties in years. Obviously we had the Europa League run, but in terms of the Champions League, I think it's our first knockout tie since the 4-4 against Chelsea, which was in 2009, I believe. So 9 years since Liverpool were last involved in a knockout game in the Champions League. This is absolutely massive, and every single one of our players will be desperate to play in that game. And obviously with this match coming so soon beforehand, it's the perfect opportunity to just stake that claim and say, look at me, I'm boss, I am going to handle that Porto game absolutely brilliant. And hopefully all these Liverpool players are going to bring their A game on Sunday because of that and help us beat Southampton. So that is all for today's video. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. I will be back later with the FIFA prediction show, so do stay tuned for that. If you are new around here, then hit that subscribe button to make sure you catch it. Check out some of the other videos that have been out on the channel over the past few days as well. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Follow at LFC Focus TV on Twitter, and I'll see you in a few hours for the FIFA prediction show. Bye for now.